So I've tasted this product before, but I've never had a full glass of it. So I did buy a bottle today from local. It's local to me, Iechyd. But it's their Granny Hammer Apple Brandy. Now, when I've had it before, I've really, really liked it. But like I said, I've never actually sat down to a full pour before. Camera adjusted didn't want to quite get where I want it to for this video for some reason. Oh, I'm not in that nice club behind me, but I'm trying to set a mood. I didn't set it perfect for the other video, but I can't seem to get it right for this one. Anyways, I digress. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just does. Anyway, that's a whole other movie altogether. So let me show you the bottle here. Granny Hammer Apple Brandy. It's at 80 proof. So I'm going to do various things with this. This is the first time I've, like I said, I've had it at home to be able to kind of play around with it. So I've got some neat, and I've done a cocktail with it. I'll talk to you about it later in a little bit. In homage to our founder's grandmother. And my eyes are having trouble focusing here, so I can get some light. Known as Granny Hammer. Sweet but loud, generous and sassy. Everyone's favorite, made with love, but not not fit to eat. Okay. According to Granny, Apple Brandy is America's oldest spirit and a fitting tribute to this incredible woman. Yeah, I'm looking forward to really getting familiar with this product. Like I said, I've had a few tastes of it at different times. I've never sat down to a full glass. I know this is their first version of it. I would love to finally. It'll take a while, I know, but the apple brandies that I've really enjoyed have been at a higher proof. A bottled and bond, for instance. Won't mention the name, but it's the apple brandy name everybody knows. Their bottled and bond is just crazy good. And they've done other special uh, bottlings of it, and I would love to see this go in that direction as they finally get around to it. Do a bottled and bond version, do a special version where higher ABV, aged very specifically, kind of thing. But anyways, as you can see, I gave myself a rather generous pour here, so I really wanted to get a feel for it before I went to that cocktail. Oh, that's nice. And it's only 80 proof. I mean, I'm usually a cask whiskey guy, so I figure 80 proof, hell. uh, somebody asked me the other day if I had it, and I said, yeah. They said, could you taste apples in it? And I said, yeah. And now that, like I said, now that I've really sat down to a nice pour in a proper glass, yeah, you can really tell that this is a apple brandy or an applejack, if you will. You might pick up notes of cinnamon in there, some vanilla. But boy, you do feel that apple in a great big way. That's just delicious. Sometimes I hesitate to do a video this late or this early, depending on your point of view. Yeah, like I said, I got home from work, ate, showered, now it's late. But then I grew up on the West Coast, so my friends on the West Coast, hell, it's not even 10:30. Yeah, it's early for those guys. It's late for us here, and all my East Coast friends have gone to bed. I'm aware, but they have some West Coast friends still awake. Uh, it's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so some are lucky enough to be off the rest of the week. Many of us will have to work. I'm not complaining, mind you. In my case, I asked to work, or I would have been off the next 2 days. But yeah, I mean, if you're in very specific, if you're in retail, you're going to work. That's what you do. I mean, I was in management with the Evil Empire for a handful of years. Yeah, you're going to work them holidays. Of course, when I was working for the Evil Empire, we were open 24 hours a day, so it's a little bit of a different animal now. They were working us 14-hour shifts, man, paying us fucking. Anyway, remember what I said in the other video about not looking back? I'm not looking back. I ain't gotta think that way anymore. But I do get a lot of, I do hear a lot about generations being lazy. This next generation is lazy. These millennials, these Gen Zs, they don't want to work. No, I don't think they have a problem with work, and I think they have a problem with being undervalued. Our generation and those before us were conditioned to kill ourselves. We were conditioned to work ourselves to death. A millennial through current, I mean, they're smarter than most of them anywhere, smart enough not to. And we want to fault them for it. We want to fault them for calling bosses out for horrible work practices. It's not that we disagree with them, is that we've done that. So in our minds, we're thinking, well, we had to put up with it, so you had to put up with it too, or you should have to put up with it too. And it's just a terrible way to look at things. We should want things to be better for the next generation rather than say, well, I had to put up with shit. You should have to put up with shit too. And I think there's so many people that feel that way. Well, I did it, so you could do it. Well, I did it, and I'm hoping you don't have to. How about that? So no, I don't fault millennials through. I fault them for other things, but I do. I really do. But I mean, I don't think as a generation. I mean, each generation has their outliers, but as a generation, I don't think millennials through Gen Z. I don't think any of them are lazy. I just think they're a little bit smarter about how they get things done. I mean, if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't be working 70 to 80 hours a week during the first 6 months of my son's life. I wouldn't do it now. But at that time, that was the decision. I mean, you did it because generations before you did it. Now we want to get mad at those generations for being a little smarter than we were. They're lazy. No, they're not lazy. They're just a little smarter. Just because they don't want to work 80 hours a week doesn't make them lazy. We should have questioned shit more. Maybe we would have got things done. But I hate that. I hate that attitude of, well, we had to do it, so you should have to too. No, I mean, it should be the exact opposite of that. I had to do it, and maybe we should try to make it so you don't have to. Just drives me crazy. Because without getting deep into politics, I mean, you got a certain segment of society that is really strong about their argument until you question their argument, and then they get mad at you for questioning their argument because they can't defend it. They feel very strong about how they feel. They say these things because they feel very strong about it. Then when you question that, they have no place to go. There is no logic. There is no reason for their argument. There is only hate, ignorance, and bigotry. And I think deep down they know that, but they can't tell you that. So then they're just going to get mad at you and do that whole passive aggressive thing that they tend to like to do. Okay, I'm done. I'm just not going to be part of this anymore. If you're going to question my ignorance and bigotry, I'm just not going to hang out with you anymore. If you're going to question how stupid I am, well, oh, mercy, Percy. I'll go somewhere else. There are people out there that appreciate the white robes I have in my closet, gosh darn it. I'm going to go hang out with those people. Anyway, I digress. This stuff is really nice. Actually, I'm getting a better feel for it the more I drink it. Like I said, I've only had a few tastes here and there of it before giving that's why I gave myself a little larger pour than I probably should have, because I really wanted to kind of dissect it. You can do a lot of different things with apple brandy or apple jack. I mean, you can drink it neat. Typically, there's a lot of cocktails involved. But I'm a bit of a purist, so even when I cocktail the apple brandy here, I'm not going to go nutso with it, right? It's going to be a version of a Manhattan or an old fashioned, right? I'm going to be using those drinks as a template. And the cocktail I have coming up is basically an apple brandy old fashioned. But I got some other ideas too that are not necessarily a Manhattan, but more using the apple brandy using the Manhattan as a template, if you will. But the next cocktail is definitely uh, an apple brandy version of an old fashioned, because it's apple brandy as a liquor, a little bit of sugar. You get the idea. Gosh, that's just delicious, though. That really is nice. And so I am gonna set that down though and go grab that cocktail. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's what I got here, and I went a little crazy on the garnish because, well, I had an idea to start with, but it just didn't work the way I wanted to. So let me show you the cocktail. Obviously, I have it well chilled. So I've got the apple brandy. I've got some melted raw sugar in there. The garnish is a cherry, a cinnamon stick, and a spiced apple. So I originally had it set up where the cinnamon stick was, nicely nestled up against the side of the glass. I tried to put the cherry in the middle, but it was too heavy. So anyway, it was a great idea, but it just didn't pan out. I guess it was a good idea. It was a nice idea. It was a great idea. Would have worked, but it didn't. But nevertheless, so and I did use a couple of dashes of some cardamom bitters. So it's basically an apple brandy old fashioned. Oh gosh, that is nice. Tom, I don't see any ice in the glass. How is that an old fashioned? Well, an old fashioned is what I just said it was. I mean, it's your liquor, typically rye or bourbon. I said that's like I said, it's an apple brandy version, but it is sugar and it is bitters. I don't like ice in my glass. I do upon occasion, but I prefer a cocktail like this, which is very well chilled, but no ice left in the glass. That is very nice. I didn't put much sugar in here. I used a raw sugar cube. But the longer you let that sort of spiced apple sit and that cinnamon stick sit in that drink, well, those are going to impart some flavors and aromas as well. So I'm adding more apple. I'm adding more cinnamon to that apple brandy, making this taste like applesauce, if you will. Tom, I'm not sure that sounds appealing or not. Yeah, I think what I want to do is I want to make myself a kind of a vanilla cinnamon simple, because I think a little vanilla in here would be really good. Be getting real close to like an apple pie old fashioned kind of thing. And I've done an apple pie old fashioned using whiskey, but to do it with that actual apple brandy, see now this is where I'm heading. But this is my first attempt at apple brandy old fashioned. But so now I'm thinking in other directions, adding a little vanilla. Anyway, anyways, I'm just spitballing here. It's not all going to be gold. anyway, anyways, I digress. Mm. Oh God, arthritis! This had this pain shoot up. Mm. Oh mercy! This is really tasty though. This apple brandy. So they've also done a date brandy, which is crazy good. I mean, they're doing a lot of different things. Their Oba Pearl date brandy is one of my favorites, and I've done holiday cocktails in the past with that. But when this one came out, I said, okay, here we go. Some apple. Usually, I have to buy that name everybody knows, right? And I like that product because again, I can get a Bald and Bond version. I can get a anniversary or whatever better version or higher ABV version. Here I can only get the 80 proof version right now, but it's local. And those that know me know that I like to stay local if at all possible, or local-ish. Gosh almighty, that is just good. Good golly, that's tasty. But yeah, the next time I want to add just a touch of vanilla in there. I've got a cinnamon simple in there, so I want to add just a drop of vanilla into that cinnamon simple, and that's what I'll use next time when I make this. And we're really trying to, you know, get to apple pie, if you will. In fact, I do, like I said, I've got cinnamon, added a little vanilla, but now I'm thinking I should put one of these dehydrated spiced apple rings in that simple, so that simple itself will impart notes of apple, cinnamon, and vanilla, adding into the apple brandy. So, okay. See, that's how my mind works, man. People wonder sometimes, how do you get from this to this? Well, this kind of works that way. We having a conversation. I said, how did we get from Iron Maiden to John Coltrane? I said, because we said this, and then we said this to take me to there, and then bing, bang, bong. All of a sudden, we're at John Coltrane because then we talked about this. And anyways, but this is when I'm putting cocktails together, it's the same thought process. Okay, but if I start with this, then I do this, and holy crap, now I got this. anyways, anyways, I digress. As I wrap it up, Tom. We've been listening to you for 20 minutes now. I am Tom. It's not whiskey, I guess, so I'm just going to skip to the end and say all around good guy. But I want to thank you all for tuning in and putting up with me all these years through all the highs and lows. There's a handful of yeah, I've lost a few over the years, ain't gonna lie, but there's a handful of you have been with me from the beginning. We lose a lot of folks over the years just due to life and a lot of politics. Politics has become, well, I say become. Politics has always been polarizing, but it seems like the last, I don't know, decade or so, it's even become more so for one reason or another. I do. I don't disagree with the mindset that we can have disagreements and still be friends. I'm okay with that. I am. I have a lot of friends that don't think exactly the same that I do. But here's where I draw the line. If your particular thought process or religious beliefs are that certain people don't deserve the same rights or even have the right to exist, no, I'm not going to say we can agree to disagree. No, we can't. We can't be friends at that point. If you think other folks don't have the right to exist just because you're not intelligent enough to understand the science, no, we don't. And I'm not going to pretend that we do, which leads me to that earlier discussion about sometimes you just got to cut folks loose. It's great to have friends, but not every friend is meant to be a lifelong friend. And I think the same goes with family members. I think a lot of us put too much, again, I think it's generational. A lot of us put too much on blood. Your blood, you're related to me. Well, what the fuck does that mean, really? I mean, why does that mean more? Why should it? And I don't like the notion that respect is earned. I think respect should be given up until somebody proves to you they don't deserve your respect. I don't make somebody earn my respect. I respect them from the second I meet them until, I mean, sometimes it's as quick as 60 seconds later. I decide, okay, no, we're done. But you don't, respect shouldn't have to be earned. We should automatically treat everybody we meet with respect right up until they show you they don't deserve it. Well, that's kind of my issue with some folks. I have a lot of, I had friends or know a lot of folks that have similar beliefs that I do, but they're able to somehow compartmentalize and say, well, yeah, but I'm going to be friends with this person anyway. Now, I don't necessarily, like I said earlier, I mean, who you want to be friends with is your business. But again, if your friend is somebody who's going to take away somebody else's rights, or vote for folks that are going to take away their rights, or say this person doesn't have a right to exist, or go to religious establishments that funnel money to hate groups. No, I mean, you say you're a good person, you say you believe these things, but if you really did, you wouldn't be friends with somebody that did hateful things, and that's my issue. So I've even cut ties with folks that seemingly are like-minded, because if you're able to still hang out and be friends with somebody that funnels money to hate groups, no, I'm just not going to be your friend. Or I have no reason to hang out with you. We clearly have nothing in common. Anyways, I digress. This is absolutely beautiful. Let me show you this bottle one more time. The granny hammer. Sounds like a wrestling move, doesn't it? The granny hammer. He's just been granny hammered. Anyway, I've been granny hammered, baby. But mercy. Granny hammer apple brandy. Anyway, stuff is really nice. Um, Fine as wine, neat, but it works perfect in a cocktail. You're going to see me do various versions of what I've got going on here through the next few weeks as we get through the next few holidays. So we're just going to start with Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, skip right to the end, say all around good guy, and Sláinte.